respected. If you knew that the life you really is being shaped by the thoughts you repeat every single day, would you keep thinking the same way? What if the biggest thing holding you back isn't your past, your circumstances, or other people, but a story you've been telling yourself for years? Stay with me, because the next few minutes may change the way you see your entire life. There comes a moment in every person's life when they look around and quietly ask themselves, is this it? Not because life is terrible, not because everything is falling apart, but because deep inside, they know they were meant for more. Maybe you've had that feeling. Maybe you've been sitting in a room full of people and still felt alone. Maybe you're a sower, been working hard for years and wondered why success keeps slipping through your fingers. Maybe you've smiled in public while carrying silent battles that nobody knows about. And maybe, just maybe, you've started believing that your best days are behind you. But today, I want to challenge that belief. Because one of the greatest tragedies in life is not failure. It's living beneath your potential. It's reaching the end of your journey and realizing you spent most of your life doubting what you were capable of becoming. You see, most people don't lose because they're not talented. They lose because they quit believing. The world has convinced many people that they need permission to dream, permission to grow, permission to become something greater. But let me tell you something powerful. The people who change their lives are rarely the smartest people in the room. They're rarely the most connected. They're rarely the luckiest. They're simply the people who refuse to stop believing when everyone else has given up. Think about that. Every great achievement began as something invisible. Before it became a reality, it existed only as an idea in someone's mind. Every business started as a thought. Every invention started as a thought. Every movement started as a thought. Every success story started as a thought. And if thoughts can build a life, thoughts can also destroy one. Many people wake up every morning already defeated. Before their feet touch the floor, they're replaying old failures. They're remembering rejection. They're reliving disappointment, day after day, year after year, until eventually they begin accepting a life they were never meant to live. The most dangerous prison in the world isn't made of steel bars. It's made of limiting beliefs. A person can be physically free and mentally trapped. They can have opportunities all around them and still feel stuck. They can have talent, intelligence, and potential, yet spend their entire lives convincing themselves that success belongs to someone else. That's why this moment matters, because awareness changes everything. The day you become aware of the stories you've gone through, it's the day your transformation begins. I want you to imagine a young man standing at a bus stop late at night. He's exhausted. His bank account is nearly empty. The people around him don't believe in his dreams. His future looks uncertain. From the outside, he appears to be losing. But what nobody can see is what's happening inside his mind. Every day he keeps telling himself that his situation is temporary. Every day he keeps believing that his life can change. Every day he refuses to let his circumstances define his future. Years later, people call him successful. People say he got lucky. People say everything worked out for him. What they don't see are the thousands of moments when he chose faith over fear. The nights he kept going when nobody was watching. The mornings he got up after disappointment. The days he fought battles inside his own mind. Success isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in private. It's built in the moments when nobody applauds you. It's built when you're tired. It's built when you're discouraged. It's built when you're tempted to quit. And that's why so many people never reach their destination, because they underestimate the power of consistency. They want immediate results. They want overnight transformation. They want the reward without the process. But life doesn't work that way. The strongest trees take years to grow. The most powerful rivers carve their paths through patience. The greatest lives are built one day at a time. And here's the eye-opening truth. Your future is not created by what you do once in a while. It's created by what you do every day, the habits you repeat, the thoughts you entertain, the standards you accept, the promises you keep to yourself. Every single day, you're becoming someone. The question is, who are you becoming? Because whether you realize it or not, your life is moving in the direction of your daily decisions. Small decisions seem insignificant at first. One excuse doesn't matter. One missed opportunity doesn't matter. One negative thought doesn't matter. But repeated over months and years, those small decisions become your reality. The same principle works in your favor. One act of courage, one moment of discipline, one positive choice, one step forward. Eventually, those small actions create a completely different life. Most people are waiting for a breakthrough, but breakthroughs often begin with small choices that nobody notices. The choice to try again, the choice to believe again, the choice to stand up one more time after life knocks you down. Because here's what many people don't understand. Life is not testing your ability to avoid challenges. Life is testing your ability to grow through them. The struggle you're facing right now may not be there to stop you. It may be there to prepare you. The rejection may be preparing you. The setback may be preparing you. The disappointment may be preparing you. And one day you'll look back and realize that the very thing you thought was breaking you was actually building you. That's the moment everything changes. That's the moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? When that shift happens, you stop becoming a victim of your circumstances. You become a student of life. And students keep learning. Students keep growing. Students keep moving forward, no matter what happens, because they understand something that most people never learn. Every experience carries a lesson. Every challenge contains wisdom. Every setback holds an opportunity. The question is whether you're willing to see it. And that realization may be the first truly eye-opening moment of your life. There is another truth that most people spend years avoiding. The life you want cannot be built by the version of you that is comfortable staying the same. Read that again in your mind. The life you dream about requires growth, and growth is rarely comfortable. That's why so many people stay stuck, not because they lack ability, not because they lack opportunity, but because change demands something from them. It demands courage. It demands responsibility. It demands that they stop blaming and start building. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, not the kind of mirror that reflects your face, the kind that reflects your habits, your choices, your excuses, your fears, and your potential. What would you see? Would you see someone moving toward their dreams or someone moving away from them? That's not an easy question, because deep down, most people already know the answer. They know the conversations they've been avoiding. They know the risks they're afraid to take. They know the opportunities they've allowed fear to steal from them. Fear is a strange thing. It often disguises itself as logic. It whispers things like, wait until the time is right. Wait until you're ready. Wait until you're more confident. Wait until you know exactly how everything will work out. But here's what life teaches over and over again. Nobody feels completely ready. The people you admire weren't fearless. They acted despite fear. The entrepreneur wasn't certain. The athlete wasn't certain. The speaker wasn't certain. The dreamer wasn't certain. They simply decided that the pain of staying the same was greater than the pain of change. And that decision changed everything. Many years ago, there was a man who spent countless nights wondering whether his dreams were foolish. People doubted him. Some laughed. Some ignored him. Some told him to be realistic. For a while, he listened. For a while, he questioned himself. For a while, he considered giving up. But eventually, he realized something powerful. Other people's opinions could not become the blueprint for his future. Think about how many dreams have died because someone listened to the wrong voice. A teacher who said it couldn't happen. A friend who lacked vision. A stranger who projected their own limitations. A critic who never had the courage to pursue their own goals. And slowly, those voices became louder than the dream itself. But there comes a moment when you must choose. Will you build your life based on what others believe? Or will you build it based on what you believe is possible? Because nobody can see your future the way you can. Nobody can feel your calling the way you can. Nobody can hear the quiet voice inside you that keeps saying, "There's more." That voice exists for a reason. It's not there to torment you. It's there to guide you. Every great achievement begins with someone honoring that voice. Not because they know exactly where it will lead, but because they trust it enough to take the next step. That's another eye-opening lesson. You don't need to see the entire staircase. You only need enough faith to take the next step. Many people remain frozen because they're trying to figure out the next 10 years. Life rarely reveals itself that way. Most of the time, it reveals itself one step at a time, one decision, one action, one lesson, one opportunity, then another, and another, and another. When you look back, the path seems obvious. But while you're walking it, the path often feels uncertain. That's normal. The uncertainty isn't proof you're lost. It's proof you're growing. Think about every season of your life. The moments that shaped you most were probably the moments you never planned. The challenge you didn't expect. The setback you didn't want. The detour you didn't understand. At the time, they felt unfair. At the time, they felt painful. At the time, they felt confusing. Yet somehow those moments became part of the story that made you stronger. That's how life works. The chapters you want to skip often contain the lessons you need most. And if you're in a difficult chapter right now, hear this clearly. Your story is not over. A bad chapter does not mean you have a bad life. A setback does not mean you're finished. A delay does not mean you're denied. Some of the greatest victories begin immediately after the moment people feel most defeated. The problem is that many people quit before they reach that moment. They stop digging 1 foot before finding gold. They stop believing 1 day before the breakthrough. They stop trying 1 moment before the opportunity appears. And years later, they wonder what might have happened if they had held on a little longer. Don't let that become your story, because perseverance has a way of changing outcomes. Not instantly, not magically, but steadily, powerfully. Life responds differently to people who refuse to quit. There is a strength that develops when you keep showing up. There is confidence that grows when you keep your promises to yourself. There is wisdom that emerges when you survive difficult seasons. And there is something beautiful about becoming the kind of person who keeps moving forward, regardless of circumstances. That person becomes unstoppable, not because they never fail, but because failure no longer defines them. Not because they never struggle, but because struggle no longer scares them. Not because life becomes easy, but because they become stronger. And once you understand that, something extraordinary begins to happen. You stop waiting for life to change before you're happy. You start changing yourself. You stop focusing on what you lack. You start appreciating what you have. You stop obsessing over what went wrong. You start creating what can go right. And suddenly, without realizing it, you've become a different person. The circumstances may look similar. The challenges may still exist. The obstacles may still be present. But your perspective has changed. And when perspective changes, possibilities appear where limitations once existed. That's one of the greatest transformations a human being can experience. Because the moment you change how you see yourself, you change what you believe is possible. And the moment you change what you believe is possible, your actions begin to change. Your decisions begin to change. Your future begins to change. The life you want may be closer than you think. Not because the world is about to become easier, but because you're beginning to become stronger than the things that once held you back. And that realization can change everything. There is a moment that arrives in every person's life when they can no longer blame the past for the future they are creating. It is a difficult moment, a painful moment, but also one of the most liberating moments a human being can experience. Because responsibility is not a burden. Responsibility is power. The day you realize that your future is not controlled by your past is the day you reclaim ownership of your life. Too many people spend years looking backward. They replay old mistakes, old failures, old betrayals, old disappointments. They become experts at remembering what went wrong, but they never become students of what can still go right. Think about how much energy is wasted carrying yesterday into today. A person gets hurt once and stops trusting forever. A person fails once and stops trying forever. A person gets rejected once and stops believing forever. And without realizing it, they allow one moment to define an entire lifetime. But life was never meant to be lived that way. You are bigger than your worst mistake. You are bigger than your greatest disappointment. You are bigger than the chapter that almost broke you. The reason this is so important is because many people have unknowingly built their identity around pain. They introduce themselves through their wounds. They define themselves by what happened to them. And while those experiences are real, they were never meant to become permanent addresses. Pain is a place you pass through, not a place you're supposed to live. The strongest people in the world understand this. They acknowledge their pain. They learn from it. They grow through it. But they refuse to stay trapped inside it. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. At first, you barely notice the weight. But as the years pass, the burden becomes exhausting. The strange thing is that many of those stones are things that no longer belong in your life. Old regrets, old anger, old guilt, old resentment. Yet people continue carrying them, not because they have to, because they've become accustomed to the weight. One of the most eye-opening discoveries you'll ever make is realizing that some of the things weighing you down can be put down. Not because they didn't matter, not because they weren't painful, but because carrying them forever serves no purpose. Forgiveness becomes powerful for this reason, and forgiveness is often misunderstood. People think forgiveness means pretending nothing happened. It doesn't. People think forgiveness means approving of what happened. It doesn't. Forgiveness means refusing to let the past continue controlling your future. It means choosing freedom. And freedom changes everything, because once your hands are no longer occupied carrying yesterday, they become available to build tomorrow. That's when growth accelerates. That's when possibilities expand. That's when new opportunities begin to appear. Many people are waiting for life to become perfect before they take action. But perfection is an illusion. The perfect time doesn't exist. The perfect opportunity doesn't exist. The perfect conditions don't exist. If you wait for everything to be perfect, you may spend your entire life waiting. The people who accomplish extraordinary things understand something different. They start before they're ready. They move before they're comfortable. They act before they feel certain. And through action, clarity arrives. Not before, after. That's how confidence is built. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you earn. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens it. Every challenge you face strengthens it. Every fear you confront strengthens it. Little by little, day by day, until one morning you wake up and realize you're no longer the person who once doubted everything. You've become someone who trusts themselves, someone who knows they can survive difficult seasons, someone who understands that setbacks are temporary, someone who has learned that resilience is more valuable than comfort. And that lesson alone can transform an entire life, because comfort rarely changes people. Challenges do. Pressure does. Responsibility does. Growth does. Think about the strongest version of yourself you've ever been. Was it created during easy times? Probably not. It was likely created during moments when life demanded more from you, moments when quitting seemed easier, moments when nobody knew how hard you were fighting, moments when you had every reason to stop but chose to continue. Those moments reveal character, and character is one of the few things nobody can take from you. Money can disappear, positions can change, circumstances can shift, but character remains. It's the foundation beneath everything else. And when life shakes you, character determines whether you collapse or continue standing. That's why the most valuable investment you'll ever make isn't in a bank account. It's in yourself, in your mindset, in your discipline, in your habits, in your growth. Because wherever you go, you take yourself with you. A person who develops wisdom carries wealth no economic crisis can destroy. A person who develops discipline possesses a tool that works in every environment. A person who develops resilience owns a strength that survives every storm. And here's something remarkable. Every single person listening right now has the ability to become that person. Not someday, starting today. Not because the journey will be easy, but because greatness is not reserved for a select few. Greatness is built through choices. The choice to keep learning, the choice to keep growing, the choice to keep believing, the choice to keep moving forward when standing still would be easier. That's the difference. The people who transform their lives aren't necessarily gifted with better circumstances. They're gifted with a better response to circumstances. When life knocks them down, they get back up. When fear appears, they move anyway. When obstacles emerge, they adapt. And over time, that response creates a life that others mistake for luck. But it was never luck. It was character. It was persistence. It was faith. It was the decision to become stronger than the obstacles standing in the way. And when you truly understand that, you stop seeing yourself as powerless. You begin seeing yourself as capable of change, capable of growth, capable of becoming someone far greater than the person you are today. That realization may be one of the most important realizations of your entire life, because once a person understands their own potential, the world can never convince them to live small again. As we come to the end of these few minutes together, I want you to understand something that could change the rest of your life. The person you've been waiting for is you, not a miracle. Not a perfect opportunity, not someone else's approval, not the right circumstances. You. For years, many people spend their lives searching for the key that will unlock their future, only to discover that the key was in their hands all along. The ability to choose, the ability to believe, the ability to act, the ability to continue, when everything inside them says quit. And that is why these moments matter. Because knowledge alone changes nothing. Inspiration alone changes nothing. Motivation alone changes nothing. What changes a life is action. The decision you make after this video ends. The promise you make to yourself. The step you take when nobody is watching. The courage you show when fear tries to stop you. That's where transformation begins. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Not next year. Today? Right now, in this moment, take a second and think about the dream you've been carrying, the goal you've been postponing, the conversation you've been avoiding, the opportunity you've been afraid to pursue, the version of yourself you've secretly wanted to become. Now ask yourself one question. If not now, when? How many more years will you wait before giving yourself permission to become who you were meant to be? How many more opportunities will pass by before you decide to trust your potential? How many more mornings will you wake up wishing for change instead of creating it? Life is moving, whether you're ready or not. The clock is ticking, whether you act or not. The future is coming, whether you prepare for it or not. So why not begin today? Why not make today the day you stop doubting yourself? Why not make today the day you stop living beneath your potential? Why not make today the day you stop letting fear write the story of your life? Because one day, years from now, you'll look back on this season, and you'll either be grateful that you had the courage to move forward, or you'll wish you had started sooner. The choice belongs to you, always has, always will. Remember this. Your past may explain you, but it does not define you. Your struggles may shape you, but they do not limit you. Your failures may teach you, but they do not determine your future. You are still becoming. You are still growing. You are still writing your story. Some of the best pages may not have been written yet. The greatest comeback may still be ahead of you. The greatest breakthrough may still be ahead of you. The greatest version of yourself may still be waiting to emerge. But that future version of you is depending on one thing: the decisions you make today. So walk forward with faith. Walk forward with courage. Walk forward with determination. Believe when others doubt. Continue when others quit. Stand when others fall. Never forget this powerful truth. You were not created to spend your life wondering what could have been. You were created to discover what is possible. 20 minutes from now, this speech will be over, but your life will continue. Your dreams will continue. Your opportunities will continue. And the question that remains is simple. What will you do with the time you have been given? Make it count. Make it meaningful. Make it a story worth telling, because the most eye-opening 20 minutes of your life were never meant to entertain you. They were meant to awaken you. Now go forward and become the person you've always known you could be. Your future is waiting.